If the woman you live with right now was not a virgin at the time you married her, then she's not your wife. She is not your wife. If the woman you live with in your house as your wife, if you are not the man that took her virginity, if you are not the man that took the virginity of the woman you live with right now, then she is not your wife. And if you are a woman, if the man you live with as your husband was not the man you lost your virginity to, then that man is not your husband, because our Heavenly Father says that whoever a woman loses her virginity to automatically becomes her husband. Our Heavenly Father says that if a woman loses her virginity to a man, that man she lost her virginity to automatically becomes her husband, and no other man can marry that woman or have that woman as long as the man she lost her virginity to is still alive. So if you are a woman, whoever you lost your virginity to is your husband. Read Deuteronomy chapter 22. If you read Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 13 to verse 21, and also Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 28 and verse 29, you will see that our Heavenly Father makes it very clear, very, very clear, that whoever a woman loses her virginity to automatically becomes her husband. No other man can marry her. No other man can have sex with her as long as the man she lost her virginity to is still alive. Now, I have a presentation about this. If you look below this video, if you look under this video, you will see a link to a full presentation I did about this. Please look under this video right here, or look around in my channel. I did a presentation about this, and you will get more information about this. So if the person you're living with right now, if the man you live with as your husband was not the man you lost your virginity to, then you need to stop living with him. You need to stop having sex with him. As long as our Heavenly Father is concerned, he is not your husband. If the woman you live with right now lost her virginity to someone else other than you, and the man she lost her virginity to is still alive, you need to stop having sex with her. You need to stop living with her. Each time you have sex with her, you are committing adultery, and you will not be allowed into the kingdom of heaven, because no one that commits adultery will be allowed into the kingdom of heaven. This is a warning to you. If you look under this video, I included a link to a presentation I did about this particular subject. I included the link under this video. And this is not just for those of you that may say that this is, oh, that's the Old Testament. Oh, that is the Old Testament. This is not just the Old Testament thing. This is not an Old Testament thing, because if you go over to the Gospels, if you go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 10 and verse 11, you will see the same thing. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 10 and verse 11, and also 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 39. You will see the same thing. Whoever a woman loses her virginity to automatically becomes her husband. And also in Romans chapter 7, verse 1 to verse 3, you will see the same thing. Whoever a woman loses her virginity to becomes her husband, and she cannot marry another man. No other man can marry that woman as long as the man she lost her virginity to is still alive. Please read these places for yourself. Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 13 to verse 21, and also Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 28 and verse 29, and in Exodus chapter 22, verse 16, and then also in Romans chapter 7, verse 1 to verse 3, and then also 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 10 and verse 11, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 39. You will see it for yourself. So if the woman you live with right now was not a virgin at the time you married her, she is not your wife. As far as our Heavenly Father is concerned, she is not your wife. You need to let her go. You need to put her away. She's not your wife. Each time you have sex with her, you are committing adultery. And as you know, nobody who commits adultery will be allowed into the kingdom of heaven. If the man you live with right now was not the man you lost your virginity to, you need to move away from this man. You need to leave him alone. You need to stop having sex with him. Whoever you lost your virginity as a woman, that man is your husband. And if you continue having sex, if you ignore this and ignore these scriptures and continue having sex with the man you live with, even though he was not the one you lost your virginity to, you are committing adultery, and you will not be allowed into the kingdom of heaven. This is according to the scriptures. And if you are a man, if you ignore this and you continue having sex with the woman you live with right now, even though you are not the man that took her virginity, and the man she lost her virginity to is still alive, you are committing adultery, and you will not be allowed into the kingdom of heaven. There's not going to be an excuse to this. There will not be an excuse. This is the reason why. This is the reason why Christ said in Matthew chapter 5 that whoever marries a woman who is put away, that person commits adultery. If you take a woman who left her husband, who left the man that she lost her virginity to, if you take that woman, you are committing adultery. That's what Christ said in Matthew chapter 5. So this is a warning to you. If the woman you live with right now as your wife, if you are not the man that took her virginity, stop having sex with her. Let her go. She is not your wife. As long as our Heavenly Father is concerned, that woman is not your wife. Everybody might think that she's your wife. Everyone might think that she's your wife, but she's not your wife. She is the wife of whoever she lost her virginity to. If that man is still alive, then that man is her husband. And for you, if you're a woman, you need to let this man go. If the man you live with right now was not the man you lost your virginity to, you need to let this man go. If you continue having sex with him, you are committing adultery and you will burn in hellfire. You will not be allowed into the kingdom of heaven. Read these places for yourself. Deuteronomy chapter 22. Read the whole chapter of Deuteronomy chapter 22, especially from verse 13 to verse 21 and verse 28 and verse 29. And in Exodus chapter 22, verse 16. Romans chapter 7 verse 1 to 3, and 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 10 and verse 11, and also 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 39, and also in Matthew chapter 5 verse 32. Christ makes it very clear. Christ confirms this. So this is a warning to you. If the person you live with right now, if she was not a virgin at the time you married her, she's not your wife. And if you are a young man and you're looking for a wife, do not marry any woman that is not a virgin. If you marry any woman that is not a virgin and the man she lost her virginity to is still alive somewhere, you are committing adultery. You have to marry a virgin. That's what our Heavenly Father says. The woman you marry must be a virgin or a widow. If the woman you're about to marry or the woman you want to marry is not a virgin and the man she lost her virginity to is still alive, then she is the wife of that man. And if you marry her and you lay with her and you have sex, each time you have sex with her, you are committing adultery. You have been warned.